Good afternoon, everyone. Those in the UAE. Good morning to those who are joining us from Europe and the West. I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds because I understand that it takes just a few minutes for some of our participants to join us and see the numbers moving in. So we have really a strong panel with us here today. I'm really excited and nervous at the same time to be joined by, I guess, over 50 years of combined experience here in the panel. So it's going to be really exciting. Okay, just to make sure that we do not lose out on time. My name is Shafir. I represent the Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park. And today we'll be hosting the webinar on green buildings, discussing sustainability in a post-COVID era. Before I introduce our esteemed panelists for the day today, I would like to very quickly run through what it is that we do at Sharjah Research and Technology Park and some of the activities and initiatives that we've been involved in. The Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park was established by royal decree, by immediate decree by His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Muhammad Al-Qasimi, the ruler of Sharjah. It has been, I would say, over 30 years in the making. We are a subsidiary of the American University of Sharjah, which was established close to 27 years ago. And we have come a full circle, I would say, in terms of really developing an innovation ecosystem within the Emirate and something that provides the next generation technologies to both the Emirate of Sharjah as well as the UAE as well. The main focal point of the park is 6 main segment areas. So we cover environmental technologies, which we'll go into detail in the webinar today, renewable energy, digitization that covers healthcare technologies, so on and so forth, artificial intelligence. Mobility is a key focal point, production design and architecture, and as well energy and environment, so to speak. We have a unique opportunity here with us at the park. We have a global vision, but of course, a very much a regionalized mission. We work extensively with several of our international partners across the globe. It's good to see some international participants on our panelists as well here. So whether it's from our partnerships, from whether it's ABB, IDEO, who have designed our beautiful headquarters here, Catapult, United Nations. We really have an international conglomerates that support us in identifying key technologies that we can develop. Of course, the park prides itself in pursuing a sort of a triple helix methodology. We bring together several government entities. We work very closely with academia, being a semi-government / academia offshoot ourselves. Of course, we would not be what we are without the several business private players that really drive forward the innovation in the space. And one such successful partnerships is joining us here on the panel, where we're connecting our partners with several government projects and private projects in advancing the innovation space, specifically from a sustainable angle in this regard. Very quickly, we are proud to say that in the last 2 years, we've deployed 6 anchored deep tech projects already in the areas of photovoltaics, agri-tech, 3D construction and printing, additive manufacturing. We'll be having a large AR/VR center, experiential center deployed here within the next 2 months, and a mass transport innovation center as well, which once completed should be one of the largest in the region. Really proud to say that we have already had over $100 million invested into the ecosystem in the park from several government and private players. Despite coming out of stealth mode in late 2018, we already have over 90 entities that have established with us, ranging from single entrepreneur startups all the way up to SMEs across all these 6 segments that we cater to. We are not located where we are in Sharjah by accident. We are actually adjacent to the University City of Sharjah, which really provides dominant access to a wealth of talent. Over 47,000 students represented by the 22 universities and institutions, and really inspiring to see that we happen to have one of the highest concentration of PhD holders in a 3 square kilometer radius. So over 2,000 PhD holders. So really massive wealth of talent here just across the road in the University City of Sharjah. Just to very quickly conclude, just to not waste much time, I would really like to introduce our panelists as well. Just to give you an overview of the different entities that are already established here in the park. We have Mensa, who is involved in 3D printing and additive manufacturing. Skyway Technologies is developing one of the largest mobility innovation centers with their overhead transportation rail systems, not just for people movement, but for logistics as well. CAFU has developed a regional research and development center here. And I probably could go on and on with the other partners, ABB, Nokia, Spacewide, but really a wealth of entities that are here with us, but we still have a long ways to go to where we really want to be in terms of creating a dent in the innovation space. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists for this evening for our webinar on green buildings. Firstly, I would like to introduce, I would like to introduce Mr. Ibrahim Al-Zubi, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer at Majid Al Futtaim Holding. So he actually manages sustainability for the entire group. In his current role, he oversees the group-wide sustainability strategy for Majid Al Futtaim and is in charge of raising the company's sustainability profile in the Middle East and globally. Of course, many of our viewers here would see several of the initiatives that Majid Al Futtaim has been engaged in, especially in the last 4 to 5 years, has really been accelerated. Ibrahim joined the Majid Al Futtaim in 2011 as the head of sustainability for Majid Al Futtaim Properties, where he played a pivotal role in driving sustainable real estate practices across the business, leading the properties business towards regional and international amongst both governing bodies and industry peers. Of course, Ibrahim brings over 20 years of experience in sustainability and corporate social responsibility. He is the vice chair of the corporate advisory board of the World Green Building Council and the UA representative for the Global Alliance of Buildings and Construction, which is a COP21 initiative. Of course, there are several accolades for Ibrahim, and would love to hear some more once we have a quick introduction from his end as well. A second panelist for the day is Marco Mari, who is the president of the Green Building Council in Italy. But of course, he wears several hats, holding a degree in electronic engineering and specialization in quality management with a master's degree as well. Marco also has a 20-year experience across sustainable building practices, products, green rating tools, etc. And of course, he has several leadership roles apart from being the president of the Green Building Council in Italy. He also is the president of the advisory board of ungreening.com, which is the platform for green building professionals. Marco also holds several senior positions with the Italian Ministry of the Environment, being the member of the working group on minimum environmental criteria for construction. And very, very recently, he has also become the member of the expert committee of the G20 environment last month. So it's really an honor to have both Ibrahim and Marco here with us as well. Last, but definitely not least, is a partner of the park and again, a well-established entrepreneur, Agnesio Pajak, or Angie, how we'd like to call her. Angie, again, has over 14 years of experience in the fields of sustainability, a member of Emirates Green Building Council, and author of bestseller books such as Metabolic IQ, Your Health Diary, Shopping IQ, together with Dr. Pajak, with Dr. Grati Pajak. For the last 14 years, Angie has been consistently involved in building a health-based empire. And back in April 2018, she received a prestigious award from Paris in the category of the Holistic Beauty Awards. I probably could go on and on about Angie, but just to make sure that we make do for time, I would like to pass the microphone on to our first panelist for the day for a quick introduction, Mr. Ibrahim, and then we can switch to Marco and Angie. And I can see questions are already rolling in. I really hope we would have enough time to cover all the questions that that your audience would have. Ibrahim, I would leave the floor with you, and I'll just quickly stop the share on there.
Thank you very much. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. So
if you could just switch to the duplicate mode, yeah.
Sorry?
If you could switch to the duplicate mode, I think we can see the...
Okay, yes. Sorry, hold on.
The display settings, yeah.
Yes. Okay, better now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you for the tips, by the way. So briefly, first of all, thank you for the invite, and it's a pleasure to be here on behalf of Majid Al-Futtaim and the different organizations and represent. And it's a great timing for this event. And special thanks to Angie for inviting me to this panel and making sure that even if I am traveling, I have to change my travel plans to attend this important panel. So thank you for that, and greetings to everyone, and hope everyone is well and safe. I am the Chief Sustainability Officer of Majid Al-Futtaim, a conglomerate in the Middle East, Emirati conglomerate. We are based in 17 markets, and we represent the brands you see. We have, we're in the retail business. We own Carrefour in 37 countries. We're in the building business, so from shopping malls to hotels to mixed-use projects. We have the, I am part of a 44,000 staff family, big family, and we have the honor and pleasure to serve more than 500 million visitors across our assets in all the markets we do. Our vision is to create great moments for everyone every day. And to do that, sustainability is an essential part of the business DNA that we do. Our vision and sustainability, dare today, change tomorrow, a way of life for a positive future. We started the sustainability journey in 2011, where we identified that business as usual, eventually it will no longer exist. And all the decisions within the company sustainability must be part of the main decision making. Hence, I joined the company in 2016. We revisited the strategy. We launched our strategy, Dare Today, Change Tomorrow, where we looked at sustainability to embody sustainability in the heart of everything we do, either be it in the business development or operation or green malls, or the well-being, or the socio-economic part as well. Having said that, when we did our strategy, we want to ensure that our strategy is aligned with our business goals, which it is, but most importantly, we wanted to ensure that we also speak international language. So what we've done, we align directly with 10 of the SDGs with our commitment to help the international community and to be part of the international community to achieve the 17 SDGs by 2030. Now we are committed and directly linked to 10 of them and indirectly to the rest of the 7, where we measure our impact and ensure that we all have work for the same goal globally. To do that, we identified 3 main focus areas related to sustainability and sustainable business model, and it's related to our business objectives. The 3 business focus areas are: 1, rethinking resources, which is environment centric, and in this part we committed in 2016 to be net positive in carbon and water. Net positive means to give to the environment more than you take. I personally think net zero is not enough, although it's a good start, but to ensure that we reverse the climate change bad condition that we have, or we may have, we need to give more than we take. We need to commit, we need to be bold. So net positive for us is a main thing. Carbon by default, of course, to ensure that we are part of the international climate action movement. And water, we live in one of the, if not the scarcest region and water poor region in the whole world, where it hosts around 6% of the world's population. So for us, water is a main thing. It's a risk. It's a business risk not to work on it. So we ensure that it's part of our main focus area into rethinking resources, in addition to circular economy. Of course, we looked at the socio-economic part, which is the people and the profit part, through our transforming lives and empowering our people. This is in brief introduction about Majd Al-Futtaim and what I do in Majd Al-Futtaim. And I'm sure I can talk more in the questions you're gonna ask, and of course the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. That was really crisp, and I'm sure there'll be quite a few questions coming in to see all the different activities that Majd Al-Futtaim has been involved in. I would like to very quickly pass on the mic to our second panelist, Marco, to do a quick introduction. Thank you very much, Marco.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone, and thank you for inviting me. Please tell me if my screen is on.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Oh, so first, it's an honor for me to be part of this panel, and I put some things in our table to discuss. First, I think it's important to remember everyone that about the global impact of building chain. We know very well that we have more energy consumption, but we know that the building chain is responsible for other important impacts: CO2 emission, waste production, water consumption, and raw materials. But we do not forget that we design this building for people, and we live inside building more than 90% of our period of life. So it's important what we breathe inside the building is the same important, equally important as what we drink, for example. And the last thing we do not forget is cultural heritage. We have another side of green building and sustainability in general that must be related to our cultural heritage. So first of our movement of green building around the world, I'm the president of Green Building Council Italia, and we joined and we are a partner of the World Green Building Council. The first thing is related to how we measure products in general. We're really interested in how we measure product, but the green building movement put the first attention on how we measure a different kind of product, a system that is the building. So if we look at the market overview around the world, we can see that the demand pushed international green building market over 5 billion square meter and $2 trillion. And this sector continues to double every 3 years and open new building opportunity and new market opportunity, for example, for green building materials. In Europe, for example, we have a lot of pressure coming from green public procurement policy. And I think this is the same around the world, because public activity is really important for our market. In Europe, we have today the next generation wave, a renovation wave that is an incredible strategy for the building sector and the building renovation. And we defined the taxonomy report at European level that put a right overview on how green finance can act. At the end, in Italy, to give you a little overview about our activities, we have contributed to a more resilient, sustainable, and health building environment as GBC Italia. We have an interesting number of certified building for LEED, more than 330 buildings. We have a lot and more registered building for certification. We have not only LEED, but BREEAM and other kind of protocols. But the important thing that is not related to a label is related to what we do more, what we save from compared to a conventional building. So it's interesting to see how we have less consumption of water for external use or internal use, less consumption on energy, and at the end, more circular economy business going on in our country. So we have a reduction of construction site waste recycling and material circular economy embedded. So the path of our Green Building Council was to focus on the instrument and to the rating system. We started from LEED, and I'm sure all of you knows this international rating system, but we added more side of this building. For example, we added the area of historic value and the area of resilience and durability. I think this is really important. And we, at the end of 2015 year, we merged our experience in Italian building rating system, international rating system, to define a new macrostructure for a new protocol. That is, I think this is an interesting point of view and a complementary point of view for the green building activity around the world. It's called historic building. GBC historic building is really interesting for preserve and maintain heritage of buildings. And I think it's really focused on what we have as a value. We do not forget that we live inside our cities, and the heritage of our cities is really important for all of us. And it's a part of our growing business or our growing green building cities. We are now internationalizing the protocol, and we are open to international case studies. So this is a call for all of you to join and to work together in these new huge activities. And we do not forget the other side of this market related to green materials, products, system, and technologies. This market is growing in the same way and in the same line with green building market. But what about products? Maybe the manufacturing industry is missing opportunity about this. And we know very well that for the green building process, material products, it's a time-consuming process for selection and for accountability. So our market is changing. All the chain is changing from a simple performance, application, finishes, durability question to a green attitude, green issues from the product. So at the end, what we clearly understood from post-COVID time, I think three things. There's no time. The second, health, environmental are deeply connected. And the last one, there's no planet B for all of us. So I think this can be interesting for our and your question after my speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marco, for those deep insights. I'm sure there'll be some very interesting questions, hopefully not too controversial, that we can cover once we are through with Angie. I'd like to pass on the microphone to Angie to have a few words before we go into the Q&A session.
Good evening, everyone. I will share my screen now. 1 second. I don't know. Is it working?
Yep.
Shafiu, is it working?
Yes, yep.
Because I'm not able to move the slides, that's why.
Maybe if you hit next or down.
It's not moving. However, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Ibrahim and Marco, for joining this panel. I couldn't imagine it to run it without you, the two important person in that people in that industry. So my name is Angie Pajak. I'm the CEO of GreenTech, which is company based in SRTIP, Sharjah Innovation Park. GreenTech is baby brand of Aquacell. Aquacell was established in 2003. I joined the company in 2006. And after 15 years of our work, which was mainly focused on well-being and technology due to water and air quality, we decided to establish GreenTech, which is a holistic vision connecting our technology from Aquacell with other partners in terms of waste management, green building protocols, to bring our clients in B2B, B2C, and B2 government relations, holistic solution to build environment which is friendly for people, but as well for Earth. So we have similar slides with Marco. I agree that we don't have time because no matter the pandemic, still climate change didn't stop. So as we change our way of working, our way of communicating, still the latest statistics show that no matter we stayed mostly at home this year, it was the warmest year since the Industrial Revolution. So our water demand is growing because of air pollution. 7 million people are dying yearly. Our food supply chain is not working properly. Our energy demand is increasing, especially we stay continuously connected through Zoom and other online services which allow us to run businesses. Waste management, only daily we use 6.8 billion masks. So we have to really seriously start consider the PPE trash that we are creating. Buildings in which we live and work, of course, have a huge impact on CO2 emission, waste, water usage. Our focus, not only currently, but since the beginning of our company, was mainly on well-being properties of the building, because once we increase immunity of people and immunity of the building, we can reduce our impact on natural environment. So the latest study from Harvard University confirmed that coronavirus is spreading through the water that is in main pipelines. That's why it's extremely important to focus on well-being inside the buildings, not only considering the economy savings, but as well impact on human. And second focus in our company is air quality. As Marco said, we spend actually more than 90% inside the buildings, counting ones we work, where we live, where we shop, and all those factors. So it's even more important currently air quality inside the building than the air quality outside the building. However, through our vision, we consider both outdoor and indoor air quality, and I'm very happy and glad that thanks to Ibrahim, we can push forward holistic vision of well-being through Majid Al-Futtaim Group as well. So maybe I will say more during the questions, and I leave time for you, Shafi, to start the question round.
Okay, thank you very much, Angie, for those introductory words. I would probably have the first question would be across all our panelists. I mean, we've been talking about the hurdles that we've been facing, especially the last 12 months now. It's surprising that it's been already a year. But how do we drive sustainability when, especially in this current scenario, many of the countries are, and many would say rightly so, really pushing their focus on healthcare measures, with in turn changes our focus away from sustainability. So how do we really drive sustainability at a time where resources, finances, and our main focus is really focused on the healthcare concerns at present? I'll probably give a few minutes to each of our panelists. Probably we can start with Ibrahim, move to Marco, and conclude with Angie with some of your comments.
Thank you for this question. And I think maybe it's easy to believe that it was focused on healthcare. I personally think because it was on healthcare and well-being, it promoted for sustainability. I tell you something, I believe 2020 was the year of sustainability, believe it or not. Contrary to the popular belief that healthcare comes first, but we talk about the socio-economic part of sustainability, which is talk about people, talk about well-being, healthcare. Now, healthcare showed the lack of maybe of R&D, of other things in the healthcare industries. But back to Marco's point on, let me tell you a couple of lessons I learned from COVID-19. One, if one falls, we all fall. That's a fact. The second one is believe the science and scientists. The third one, we have a baseline when it comes to data. So this is among other lessons. But I want to use these three lessons to look at another pandemic, climate change. Climate change is a pandemic, and we talk about the environmental part of sustainability. And if you look at the survivors so far for the last 18 months from organizations, whoever is agile and resilient managed to sustain their business, their economic business model, to adjust to the new reality of pandemics or post-pandemics. So if you deal with a pandemic, which we are, with the climate change, because we look at it as a pandemic, so by default, you're agile, you're resilient, you're ready to deal with another pandemic, how to utilize it, how to be ready for it. Having said that, even with that, like we started in 2016 with our net positive. So for us, business did not change, but people had the time to reflect on the business models they have. We used to say before COVID-19, business as usual no longer exists. Now we say business as usual is dead. As much as this word maybe sounds negative, but I look at it from a different way, because the business model, as we know of it, we all agree on that, it won't be the same post-COVID-19. So we have an opportunity now to revisit our business model and look at a sustainable business model. And even with that, we had climate, people thought we just had pandemics, but we had the bushfires on Australia and California. We had some droughts. We didn't have rain in some countries. We had some floods in some countries. So the climate change pandemic was still in action, although maybe did not take the headline. Even with that, we saw during the pandemic, the EU announced their Green Deal to come back. They signed the ministers in December 20. They talked about it. Also, they need to talk more on the how. We also saw 300 global companies pledged to be net zero. We saw Japan, China, and we saw countries pledging to be net zero. During the pandemic, the G20 called on governments to set out clear timelines onto disclosure standards like the TCFD, the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure, to be mandatory by 2023. So we've seen some good responsible reactions from countries and from organizations to be ready for post-COVID-19. So I would look at it, I think, if we are smart enough, and I hope we are as humans, we will realize when we do the Great Reset, we look at the sustainable business model, because if you don't believe in that, you're way behind. If you think the business model that used to operate in financially, economically, whatever it is, post-COVID-19, it's not the same. If you don't believe that, you're out of business, you're way behind other people, you will lose market share. And this is, I'm talking pure business. Now, having said that, again, I want to emphasize, just to wrap up this question, well-being and healthcare, human healthcare and well-being is a main part of sustainability. It's not a standalone thing. So it's indirectly relates into the promotion of sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Some really interesting insights on there. I'm sure we can get several sound bites out of your comments. Marco, a few inputs from your end.
Yes, unfortunately, I totally agree with Ibrahim. It's not possible to say different. I think we can think about the new normal. We are in a new normality today. And this new normal is focusing on the first issue, that everything is connected. There is no possibility to have a healthy business without healthy people. So we need to have the same attention to all the aspects, and we need to embrace the complexity. To embrace the complexity, we need to focus on business chain too. And I think in this pandemic crisis and in this business global crisis, we see that the offer is suffering due to the collapse of orders. But more than this, we see that the offer, we can say, is based on a non-articulated value chain. So this is the real problem. If we do not articulate the value chain for a common vision and common goals, we can have beautiful green buildings without have less consumption, you know, because it's related how we managed the buildings, for example. So we need to re-articulate this. And for this, I think it's the same, we can say, the same goals for all of us. This makes us friends in this battle. And the green building sector and green building protocols are simple instruments. We can improve instruments for sure. We can add different point of view. Heritage is a different point of view to give us a second way, a second chance to growing more with this culture. But for sure, if we do not re-articulate the value chain for these common goals, that can be to be more resilient, to be more sustainable, and to be more healthy, I think there is no way to do this, and no way to survive. I strongly understand that the earth will survive, not humans.
Wow, that's quite inspirational, Marco. Angie, a few words?
I agree with Ibrahim and Marco, of course. And unfortunately, we are 0.01 species on this planet, and we managed to destroy 83% of Earth just in last 30 years. So definitely we will not repair anything if we don't change totally our approach towards earth waste management, water usage, and all those factors. And we don't have that much time to do that. So I strongly focus on waste management because and solutions which are there. So they are ready. It's just about implementing them on a mass scale. Like we polluted earth on the mass scale. Now we can revise this process with good practices. And without that, we don't last for long, as Marco said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Angie. Before I go to the next question, we have a question from Hemant from the agri-tech segment. Probably kind of feeds into our discussion, point of discussion today. How can local companies in the agri-tech join hands with the public and private sector organizations towards driving food security and sustainability in general? I think one of the topics that comes to his mind is carbon offsets, but Hemant would like to hear some more interesting points from our expert panels on here. So probably I would leave the floor open to Ibrahim. Yeah.
Thank you, Hemant, for the question, and I think this takes us back to the post-COVID-19, something that we were talking about before, and so from a sustainability perspective, and I think COVID-19 emphasizing the fact that food security. We do have campaigns like within Majd al-Futtaim in our Carrefour stores across countries. We work with local farming, we work on the local procurement, we do all this as part of our local and economy and community investment. But now, if something showed that innovation and agility is agri-tech, and agri-tech is such an important thing and tool and enabler to achieve carbon emissions reduction, and most importantly, water reduction, as well as promoting for healthier and well-being lifestyle. So one of the things we've done in COVID-19, we introduced the region's first in-store hydroponic farms with a startup. And to be honest with you, when we did our first one, we had no idea about the consumption and the operation. We did forecast, but now within 12 months, the technology, and Hemant is one of the experts, by the way, in the region, if not globally in agri-tech, it's the innovation in this industry within the last 12 months, globally and regionally, was so advanced that we look at it as a solution. So public-private partnership, private-private partnership, without the startups, without innovation, it won't happen. And this is where we need solutions. Again, the new business model that Marco mentioned and all of us agreed on is solutions. You need to be agile and resilient. And if something can provide such solutions, our intellectual thinkers, they have the guts and bold enough to start a solution-based company like a startup, like the agri-tech, for example, and come to companies like us, let's work together. So it's a spot on. And I think if you look at the future, agri-tech will be, and food security will be one of the main pillars for a post-COVID-19 era.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. It's actually quite interesting to see that one of the startups that have been supporting Majd al-Futtaim actually came up with that question. So it's really interesting to see that ecosystem really tying in together. Some words from Marco.
Oh, yes. You know, in Italy, food in general and agri-tech is really important. It's a part of our lifestyle, is a part of our culture. Yes, I agree with you. First, we need to start from the healthier lifestyle. We need to ask healthier products. The same for the building. We need to understand what is inside, what is the formula, and what is inside what we eat, what we drink, what we breathe. And we need this for our healthier ways of life. It's the same for building products and materials. I think there are a match in these two different chains. We can read everything inside a bottle of water. We do not read nothing inside a building. It's not possible. So we have these two different aspects. The second, so the first is one chain can help the other to achieve more goals. The second is to embrace the complexity and to do not only see a chain without the integration with the other, because the agri-tech have in any case something, a building around. So we need to see interrelated. For this can be really helpful, and I hope Angie will help us on this. The technology and the innovation can help us a lot, but in a general point of view, in an integration point of view. At the end, we need to embrace this complexity. We need to have tools to measure. What Ibrahim said, we do nothing about, we tested, now we are measuring, and we now learned a lesson. We need to have tools to measure. So tools it's not important itself. It's important to have a clear idea of what's happening. And without measure, goals and impacts, for sure, we are not able to improve our healthy and resilient life.
Thank you very much, Marco, for those insights. Some quick words from Angie.
Nice to have you, Vegitech, here. Good evening, Hammond. I'm glad that we connect that much because we already run a pilot with Vegitech on water quality. So we work very close with agriculture sector, both the classic agriculture and vertical farms. Because in both cases we can improve water. So then we impact the usage of water. We can increase soil density if we talk about classic farming. The question I meet very often once I talk about green buildings and agriculture, people look at me weird and they ask like what agriculture has to do with buildings, as they connect agriculture with a dirty farmer full of mud and strange equipment. But all those factors are connected because if we sit in the buildings, we still eat. Everyone has to eat. If we eat, we impact the water usage. We impact, again, waste management, how we cultivate food and impact how long it will stay. So then we have food waste factor again. So as long as we will not see all those issues as holistic network, which basically depends on our decisions worldwide, we will not be able to go forward with a right direction.
Thank you very much, Angie. We just have another question from Summer. I believe this may be directed towards Marco. How can we integrate sustainability with heritage, as you were alluded to? I think this is going to be a very interesting talking point for the next couple of months and years to come.
Thank you for the question. Maybe I can share only one slide to explain better my idea. Only to give you a quick insight about this. The GBC Historic Building Protocol is related from, I told you, from LEED v4 and other national protocols. And we added a new area called historic value. So if you are able to understand LEED protocols, you can see we added a new area. And what is this area about? Is about the knowledge of the building. And this is the focal point. Which difference are from a normal building to an heritage and historic building? We have for sure something interesting about this, and it's about the knowledge. Knowledge not only of the building, but the process and the architectural technology, pre-industrial technologies. This is a value because normally is based on a knowledge on this territory, on this area of the planet. So we need to embrace this knowledge and to analyze, to improve our knowledge about this. When we know very well a green building, an historic building, then you can design how to manage, how to improve the performance of the building. But for sure, for an historic building, maybe it's not energy the focal point, maybe, but there are a lot of other things. And for example, circular economy is the main issue of an historic building because we recuperate, we reanalyze everything we have. And for this, I think we introduce a new point of view, not only circular economy, but circular design. But for each kind of design, you must know very well what you are managed and what you are, what is your building now. This is the first point of historic building. The second is a normal tool, a normal rating tool to try to use.
Thank you very much, Marco. We have an interesting question. Probably we just give a minute to. In Europe, they are creating the European Federation of Digital Actors. I think I've heard about this. Is there a similar body in the Middle East or in Africa? I'm assuming not, but I would leave it to the experts to answer that question. Anyone from our panelists aware of a similar body in Middle East or Africa, similar to the European Federation of Digital Actors? I'm assuming not.
I think there are similar activities. We see in general around the world that this kind of culture, sustainability culture, is growing faster, but I have no data about this. So maybe I can say, I think yes, but I have not clear data about this.
Thank you very much, Marco. Ibrahim, anything to comment?
Well, I think we have a great region, and we have a great opportunity if we think from a regional perspective, and that's a key thing for us. I'm not fully aware yet that I aspire to do more always. So I'm aware of a couple of regional chapters for global movements here, like the World GBC, MENA region, and now we just added Africa to it. So even the Congress will be soon in March. For the first time, we're going to have Africa and the MENA region together as Congress, and we have the pleasure to support this and to be the regional partner. Also, we know that with the local networks with the UNGCs as well, where I also sit as a vice chair for the board of directors, and I could see a lot of movements from the private sector, especially towards the ESG now. So this is the new topic now, sustainable finance. So we have initiatives driven on a national level and maybe across the borders, but not yet maybe as well organized as the EU. They have the official government body as a platform. So hopefully we will have something better soon.
Definitely, and the cooperation is only improving, especially in the last 8 to 10 months. It's there to be seen. So I believe we can really make up for lost ground. Unfortunately, we're really running short of time, but I would like to have one question for our panelists before we leave. Of course, we would like to believe that it's not all doom and gloom in terms of sustainability, but there are a lot of activities for us to be involved in. So where do we, if we were to put it in a nutshell, where do we realistically need to really be at to ensure a sustainable future for our future generations, for not just our children, but for our children's children? What do you think, for example, we as private entities, we as governments, we really need to do? Where would we need to be at for us to say that, yes, we are moving towards a sustainable future? Probably would give a couple of minutes to each of our panelists to add in a few comments.
Angie, ladies first. You've been answering last, so this is the last question. You can start and you can have the whole time, no problem.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Shukran. I would start from that we should speak about present, not future, continuously. Because if we don't stop today, we won't have any future. Definitely, UAE is the most supportive government for fast change, for accelerated upgrades of legislation. Even at the moment, we are working to upgrade the water quality theory and rules. So basically, we should start from ourselves. Because this famous statement, it was just one straw. If we consider that only USA using 500 million straws a day, soon if we will not do anything about that, we will eat plastic bottles for the breakfast. Because latest research from Europe is saying that Europeans are eating weekly equivalent of one credit card. If we look at our credit card, we can see how much plastic do we have in our bodies. So this plastic issue is definitely a top topic for me. And there are solutions. Even lately, I read about a women entrepreneur in Kenya who is producing sustainable bricks from plastic they collect, which are even stronger than a concrete. So definitely we should start from action and implementations on all those solutions. And that's why I'm very glad that Majid Al Futtaim, thanks to Ibrahim, is going to be plastic free soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Angie.
I will take 1 minute for my last answer and the rest, Mark. Well, realistically speaking, from a business perspective, we've noticed that recently the green, social, sustainable bonds have been growing exponentially. And in 2020, we've seen some countries even issuing green bonds. So although despite the market volatility from COVID-19 impacts, typically now led by the founders, investors are looking for this. So I would like to say, if there is a realistic approach now, will be sustainable finance, green economy, green bonds, and we've been talking about innovation. And since there is no plan B, innovation is our only hope for a greener and cleaner future. So we need to invest, we need to have innovative solutions, and we need to action them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the strong soundbite, Ibrahim. Marco?
Oh, thank you. Thank you to be the last one of the last question. Thank you, Ibrahim and Angie and Sifu. So definitely, I say, thinking about what Angie said and Ibrahim said, people are the first issue. And we need to train new generation. If we not train properly to this green approach, to this new normal, we lose a lot. We do not lose only our planet, we lose our hope. So I think more than business, more than other things, we need to be focused on people and train the new generation to this culture. And at the end, a good way, not only in university, not only with masters and degrees, but leading by examples. So I think in this panel, Shifu, and I thank you so much, because we're trying to do something and we're trying to lead by examples. But who is growing on this culture must be the new generation, young people. And if we do something, we do everything for our next generation.
Thank you very much, Marco. And I want to once again thank all our panelists, Ibrahim, Angie, and Marco, for being with us today and taking time out of your extremely busy schedules to really provide some really interesting sound bites. And there's a lot for us to take away, to be honest. I have a series of notes, and I'm sure that we probably could publish a white paper out of what we've discussed today. But here's looking forward to successful partnerships. And as you know, I would like to end by saying that we'd like to definitely follow Angie's perspective. Let's not think about tomorrow. We need to start acting today. So here's looking forward to working together and coming up with actions from today. I would like to thank all our attendees for participating. Once again, thank you to all our participants, Ibrahim, Marco, Angie, for sparing so much time during your busy schedules. And have a good afternoon and look forward to working together in the near future. Thank you very much, everyone, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.